Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on a Thursday night with none other than WWF legend Barry Horowitz. Barry, how are you?
Doing great. Great to be here. Love the UK.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us tonight. So, guys, the format, as always, when you jump in, we'll start doing the signings of the photos that you've already pre-sold. In between that, if you want to ask Barry a question, and a respectable question at that, please drop it in the comment box below.
There is. This one's from Jess. So, who was your favourite rival in wrestling and why?
Oh, wow. I have a couple. It's kind of a tie between Owen Hart and Skip from the Body Donnas. Both were great dance partners. I love wrestling people like them, and of course the Armstrongs and Tommy Wildfire Rich and Ben Jordan, Reno Riggins, Brady Boone, the list, Tim Horner. But I would have to narrow it down to Owen Hart because I've wrestled him more than anybody. I had his first match ever in the WWF. And also because of Skip and I had a great history together and a great angle that lasted almost a year through SummerSlam Survivor Series, In Your House matches, WrestleManias, pay-per-views, the Slammy Awards. I mean, the list goes on. And both of them are near and dear to my heart and immensely missed. I mean, I miss a lot of guys that have passed, but especially Owen, this situation should have never happened. But that's for another day.
I completely agree with you. I think it could have been easily prevented. And, it's nice that they remember him in the Owen Hart tournament now, which is nice.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So it's nice that AEW remember him with the Owen Hart tournament.
I'm glad you said that. That's a little bit a classy move. Of course, I don't know why the WWF, whatever you want to call them, WWE, couldn't do that out of class. They're supposed to be the people, and it's a non-classy move. I got to give AEW props for that, showing his name and really pushing it hard. I'm sure Chris Jericho had something to do with that, and the other Canadian wrestlers that are there. Props to them. Great idea. Should have been done 10 years ago. And who knows? They're probably scared of Martha Hart and the whole Hart family.
Yeah, who wouldn't be? What was it? I'm a big Owen Hart fan. So I have to ask this question. What was it like working him?
Oh, it was great. When I first started wrestling, it was a little bit stiff, and Owen was young, and he was spoiled by his brothers and his parents as far as, they owned the territory in Calgary. But as Owen got older and got to know me and realized my pedigree and resume is very mirror-like his, that's why the matches got better and better and better.
I just watching his work from the old World of Sport days back in England, and you could see he was way beyond anyone at that point.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good point, Dan. He was doing Mexican arm drags and flips off the top 25 years ago, when they're doing them in various companies now, and everybody's acting like, ooh. Yeah. Well, Owen did them before these people could think of it.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Do you know how many times you got to wrestle him?
I don't know, but somebody was telling me that they checked the internet, and it was like, I've wrestled him more than anybody on the planet. Wow. You got to understand that I wrestled Owen Hart when he first came in, the Blue Blazer. What was the little deal? He had a tag thing, the
High Energy,
which he didn't like. King of the Ring. I wrestled every gimmick that Owen was in.
Yeah.
I even wrestled him and his whole family in the Boston Gardens pay-per-view at Survivor Series as the Red Knight.
Oh, really? Was that you?
That was me.
No way.
Oh, yeah, almost You can't even keep it a secret no more. Everybody knows that. That's why I just blatantly said it.
I didn't know that. There you go.
Yep.
Holy shit.
I had to change my style a little bit around and, the mask and whatnot so I wouldn't, look like Barry Horowitz wrestling Owen.
Yeah. No way.
So next question comes from Stu. So evening, Barry. Hope you're well. Who is your favourite current wrestler in WWE or AEW?
Oh, wow. AEW. Wow. I don't. AEW has a lot of good wrestlers and a lot of good technical wrestlers. I don't know. There's probably, I'd have 10 at least. As far as in the WWF, I'm a big fan of his last name is Gable.
Chad Gable.
Chad Gable. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of the other technical wrestlers. I mean, right off the top of my head is Chad Gable. And of course, in AEW, there would be also Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
And of course, Chris Jericho.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's others, but off the top of my head, that's there's, but he's not in AEW no more. Is Alex Kazarian. He's in Impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another good one.
Very much so. Chris Daniels is another.
Yeah. I like guys that are similar to my
style.
To my style.
Absolutely.
I mean, I like all different styles, but that's my forte. That's how I was taught.
That's your preference.
That's cool. My preference.
That's awesome. We'll do another question then, Big Dan.
Yeah. So this one is from Adam. Bret Hart once said that he wanted to see you in the WWE Hall of Fame. If you ever got the call, would you? Who would you want to be inducting you?
Wow, there's a lot to that, but I'll just get right to it. I would probably have my mentor, Jody Malenko, inducting me.
Nice.
In fact, not probably, I would.
Yes.
So Jody Malenko, Joe Malenko, I'm sure the fans are familiar with him. If they're not, just go to YouTube and look his name up, and you'll see him all over the place in Japanese wrestling.
We hope that phone call comes.
I don't know if that phone call happened because it kind of makes sense. So we don't want to, it makes sense. So they may not do that. They're known for doing the opposite. But on a lighter note, in 4 weeks, I will be inducted into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, first ballot. And that's New England Pro Wrestling halloffame.com. You could go to that, and it tells you who's going to be there and past winners. It's pretty cool. It's located in Providence, Rhode Island.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Well deserved.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Chris has asked, what or who influenced you to become a wrestler?
What influenced me to be a pro wrestler?
Yes.
Well, basically, when I first moved in our house, my parents and I was probably 13 years old, and there was Florida Championship Wrestling that came on every Saturday night at 7:00 on WTOG. And the host was Gordon Soley, and I was watching a match between Thunderbolt Patterson and Mr. Clean. Yeah. And from that moment on, I said, that's what I want to be. And I'm sure a bunch of 13-year-old young men say they want to be a dentist or they want to be a football player, soccer player, basketball player, or whoever, and it never transpires. Because my first love was magic, and I wanted to be a magician, which I still do some magic here and there, but nothing like pro wrestling as far as being an athlete and training to be, the best I can. And I think I did it the proper way as far as step by step by step, climbing the ladder and getting into a good school, a good trainer, of course, working out, of course, living a good, clean life, and it's worked for me. And to this day, I do it.
What stuck out for you with Thunderbolt Patterson?
What's that?
What stuck out for you with Thunderbolt Patterson?
Oh, nothing. It wasn't really his mannerisms or his wrestling technique or Mr. Clean. It was just the ring, Gordon Soley talking, and they were wrestlers. It could have been probably anybody.
Yeah.
But that's what sparked my attention. Then the rest unfolds.
How easy was it back then to find a wrestling school?
Very hard.
I was
very hard because you were either turned down, or you don't want to do this or something, or sometimes you got to be careful. Some of these schools that were protecting the business and heavy on the kayfabe and whatnot, that they would stretch you or hurt you or break your leg, or see how tough you are, have you do 1,000 Hindu squats in 5 minutes. It was to see how tough you were. Nowadays, it doesn't work that way. I mean, you do train hard nowadays. I've really not been in any of these performance centers or training gyms of professional wrestling. I've been in some smaller ones, but I don't know if I don't know how they really operate. Yeah. I just know in my eyes, maybe I'm being biased, and I see what comes out of some of these schools, that I was trained by the best. I definitely was trained by the best, Boris Malenko and his sons, and Karl Gotch.
Yeah.
And Karl von Stronheim.
No, fair play. Fair play.
Yeah, I don't know how some of these gyms, I'm sure they have rings in them, and they have weights in them, and they have, as long as the trainer is, he's been around,
yeah,
and you're got the passion and the work ethic and the accountability and the drive, you'll succeed. You should.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you have all that and you don't, well, that's just the politics of the wrestling business. Remember, the only guarantee in professional wrestling is there is no guarantee.
Absolutely. Well said. When you started training then, did anyone try to stretch you to try and see, again, how tough you were?
Not really. A little bit with Jody, maybe. A little bit with Karl Gotch. Never Boris or Dean Malenko. It was nothing like that. I think my attitude was really good, and I want to learn. There's no reason they could tell just by my progression in the ring and my outlook on professional wrestling and just being a wrestler, period, coming from the amateur ranks. I think that was highly respected. And I think maybe my little in was that I was Jewish, and so are they.
Got you. I get you.
Remember, guys, there's only two kinds of people in this world: Jewish people and people that wish they were Jewish.
Hey. So Dan, we were on about the DNA tests that we took.
Yes.
Mine, Barry, actually came back 14% Israeli Jewish.
14%.
Yeah. So does that make me fairly Jewish? Oh no.
Not really.
Oh.
The only way it does is if your mother, especially your mother and your father, are 100% Jewish, okay, which makes Barry Horowitz 100% Jewish.
Oh,
I'm the real deal.
Oh, I'm not the real deal. I'm a fraud.
You're not the real deal.
I'm a fraud.
You're a fraud.
That's it. My 14% means nothing.
Yeah, it's okay. We still like you.
Thanks, Barry. Well, at least we've got that one out of the way. Dan, have you got any more questions?
Yeah. So we have one from John. Any funny Steve Lombardi stories?
No.
There we go then.
There you go.
Your next question from Adam. Who is your favourite Mount Rushmore of jobbers? So what is your Mount Rushmore?
Somebody asked me this on a podcast 3 weeks ago. I'm real critical, and I'm real critical of myself. So I don't know. I don't know, because some people are classified pure enhancement.
Yeah.
And then some are enhancement, but they have to have a guy like myself, enhancement, to make their so-called stars look like stars.
Yes.
Because if they didn't, they won't get over and they won't put asses in the seats, which means no money.
Yeah.
Not everybody could be a superstar, and not everybody could win. So it works that way. As far as I really don't know, because when you want me to say this, I compare people to myself, and myself would be, I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but I mean, I'm a wrestler, I wrestle, I'm a heel, the promos, you got to be almost a total package, look the part, walk the part, do it all. And I can't think of anybody. I mean, I would, Reno Riggins would be probably a good candidate. Dwayne Gill. I don't know. There's just, I don't know. That's a hard one to evaluate, because I'm real picky with their style, how they look, their promo, everything. You know what I mean? It's just not all about grabbing a headlock and hitting the ropes.
No, I get
it's much more than that.
Absolutely.
So how I look at it is the progression of being good. I want to be great. I don't want to be just a good wrestler. I want to be a great wrestler.
With that being said, then, obviously, I really want to touch on the rivalry with you and Chris Candido, or Skip of the Body Donners. I remember watching that match when you beat him, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, what's happened?" Because we'd never seen that in wrestling before, where the quote unquote jobber beat the star, and it was incredible. It was one of the best things I've seen because it was so unpredictable. When that was put forward to you, how was that received by yourself?
Oh, I was elated. I mean, you know how many times I've gone to buildings, Raw after Raw, pay-per-view after pay-per-view. I mean, at the gorilla position, ready to wrestle, and my match gets canceled or whatever. But I never shunned on it. It's just part of paying dues, and I never put it over. I actually literally got paid for putting my trunks and boots on. So, and I'm living my dream. There's guys that never even made it to the gorilla position. There's guys that never made it to the building, that never did Raw, never did anything. So I'm grateful for living my dream. I've liked it better? Sure. I don't have sour grapes about it. I just would like, I would have liked it to last a little bit longer and got maybe a little bit more respect and attention. But at the same time, I'm not whining. I guess you could call it legitimately bitching.
Fair enough. So what was it like then when they put the idea to you about this program with Candido?
Well, first I thought it was a rib, and they were joking, but I was always taught to go along with things, and I did, and it wasn't. And they didn't say how long it would last, but it went on for a good year. And it brought me a lot of, I had my own shirt. I had a lot of everything but an action figure, which I'm going down another avenue for that. So I've got another bigger and better companies that are making action figures of me. Why I don't understand that, when somebody told me the other day they made an action figure of, you remember back in the day, that lawyer, he was like a lawyer. that he wasn't a wrestler. He was a lawyer, but manager.
In WWE or WWF?
Yes. Yeah. I'm going back 20 years ago.
Oh God, I'm going to have to think now.
Well, anyway, he was basically a minute in the wrestling business, if you will, a cup of coffee in the wrestling business, and they make an action figure of him, but not me. Now, think about that. Does that make sense? And what would sell more? You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
I don't know who is making these decisions or who's in the war room or I don't know what's going on, but I think maybe there's a lack of thinking or forget. And if you're trying to get, you know how you get even with people, or I'll teach him this, or you know what I mean? I mean, you don't go by that. You could have your personal grievances on the side. If somebody's drawing money or it's going to do well, you put that aside. You know, if you don't like Tom Brady, you don't bench him. You don't put him second string.
No.
And believe me, there's certain people that don't, or maybe he's had arguments with people and stuff like that, but he's still the GOAT and he's still number one.
Yeah.
That's how you got to think. So you think with your brain, not your ass.
Yeah. Which unfortunately some people do that.
Oh, I see it every day. It's you can't teach stupid or fix stupid. And basically it's a sad and ignorant situation.
Yeah. But unfortunately that is just how life is sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
As bad as it is.
Especially in the wrestling business.
Yes. Amen to that. Big Dan, if you want to go to some questions.
So I got one from Stu. So Stu has just debuted as a referee. What advice would you give him?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I was just helping somebody the other night I was at a show in Minnesota and I was helping a ref. You want to be in command, even though you're a smaller person. Like if you're counting the wrestler out, 1, 2, it's just not 1, 2. It's you got to emphasize. Everything needs to be emphasized and loud, and you're the authority figure. Because if you watch the UFC or boxing, you touch the referee, you're done. So you need to be in command and just do your job properly as far as finishes and take care of the participants in the ring and the ring, and that's it. You don't want to be you're a smaller person than a wrestler, which it's supposed to be, but you don't want to be wimpy or anything with the authority. Catch them on the ropes. You can't. You got to make the tag when you're in a tag. You got to control. You're the police in the ring.
Have that answers your question there, Stu?
So I hope that helps them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And another big plus is to watch referees that are really good. I would definitely watch Joey Morella, the Hebner brothers, and Danny Davis. Excellent referees, phenomenal referees. There is more, but at the top of my head, that's who I'm saying. And I know these gentlemen a long time.
Yeah, we met Dave. No, we didn't. We met Earl Hebner.
Yeah, he's a good man.
He was a great man. Likes to drink.
Yes, he does. I realized that over the years of just being around him and people telling me that. Because when I first met him, I don't think it was as much. No. I don't know.
No, it certainly was in Liverpool, wasn't it, mate?
It was.
Oh, bless him. He was great. He was so much fun. Just a quick one then, from me then. When, obviously, your tenure in WWF, was there anyone that you didn't get to work? Because obviously you wrestled like Triple H, Hart, Owen Hart, Bret Hart, like a who's who. Was there anyone that came through the door that you didn't get to wrestle, but you would have liked to have done?
Well, at the top of my head, there's only 2 people, but they weren't there when I was there. But first and foremost would be Kurt Angle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I would, in my prime, in his prime, I would love to wrestle him for about 30 minutes. And secondly would be Randy Orton.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. There's others. Of course, Chad Gable. Of course, Alex Kazarian. Christopher Daniels. There's a slew of others, but yeah, just the way it happens.
Would you go down the route of a Brian Danielson, a Zack Sabre Jr.? So those kind of indie technical guys?
Yeah. What did you, Brian Danielson? Who else was that?
Zack Sabre Jr. from New Japan.
I don't know if I know him, but I have to look him up. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Some of those are, they're all technical wrestlers.
Yeah.
Some of them do it a little bit different than I. Sometimes things are too fast,
yeah,
where the fan doesn't catch it, or too much. But that's just a personal preference with me. It's not knocking anything.
No.
There could be people that say my stuff is too fast or too slow. So that's not that important. What's more important is working solid, and doing your things right.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's all about telling the story and making sure that the fans can follow what is being presented in the ring, which I think sometimes is a lost art at the moment with the indie wrestling that we have, because everything's quite fast.
Yeah, sometimes in professional, this is what makes a good worker into a great worker. Sometimes too fast is no good. Sometimes too slow. So if you could get the medium, if you could keep it medium.
Yeah,
I'm going to do these fast punches. I'm going to do like Steve Austin does in the corner, the fast kicks, and then slow it down. And then there's something, like I said, fast, slow. You got to have the whole ball of wax. I'm a big fan of always trying to pin that's what we're trying to do, pin them or submit them.
Yeah.
And the submissions are good. The pins, sometimes I see you got to hook that leg tight. You just don't cover them lackadaisious and just hover over them where there's a gap that long where you could kick out.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of that. And of course, a big fan of locking up snug, a big fan of tackles, which a lot of people, even some guys that have been around a long time, they don't do them well.
No.
They don't do them solid. Again, that's me. I mean, you could critique some of my matches and maybe not like something, or sometimes you do have to go fast if you're on TV and they're telling you to go home, and you don't go home within, they tell you're going to get screamed at when you walk through the curtain by whoever's at the gorilla position or Vince.
Yeah. Did you have any like bad altercations with Vince, or was he always pretty cool with you?
I've never had a problem with Vince. No. I've only spoke to him a handful of times. He's too busy talking to his superstars, and I've had one issue. I've talked to him about something that I won't go into right now. I just don't want to.
It's fine.
And if it was just a matter of basically a wrestler telling on me or complaining, which. Right. I never heard of before.
No.
You're grown-ass men and you're going to Vince. Just talk to me about it.
Yeah.
But if you knew who I was talking about and you considered a source, you would go, oh, yeah, I agree with that. I'm not getting into that story.
Fine.
And by the way, I don't bury the dead.
No, that's fine. We don't ask anyone to bury anyone on here.
Yeah. Unless you catch me at the right time and I feel like it.
Fair enough. So guys, we're coming to a close in the next couple of minutes. So if you have any last minute questions, please put them in the comments box. If not, Barry, do you have any social stuff you'd like to plug?
Well, yeah, I did mention, I appreciate it. I'm really big on Cameo.com, is doing well for me. Various interviews and podcasts, Pro Wrestling Tees, Facebook. Co-owner with Richie Sorrentino on GTG.com, which is Good Times Guaranteed. Every Wednesday, live wrestling auction. It's phenomenal. It's out of it's either out of New York or New Jersey. Pro Wrestling, I'm trying to think of the Wrestle Pro. I'm sorry, Wrestle Pro, New Jersey. Wow, there's. I have some upcoming matches. I'm actually going to a huge meet and greet, I told you, in Providence, Rhode Island, but also in Andre the Giant's hometown in North Carolina. I will be there in August. I will be at WrestleCade in August again. I love that event in Winston-Salem. There's also another wrestling event, I think, in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I have a lot of meet and greets come up. I also do 3-hour seminars about the wrestling business inside the ring and outside the ring that I convey by traveling with so many superstars in my life. And the meet and greets. And I do wrestle on occasion, mostly in tag matches. Basically, everything's going good. I had some stem cell surgery done to my knee, and it's still healing. So, but I have nothing to prove to the fans. If the fans like me the way I think they do, and if you go to my YouTube matches, you could see all of my matches from 81 on. I have nothing to prove as far as wrestling, technical wrestling. People have seen me. I think really what they want to see now is Barry in good shape, patting himself on the back and doing something cute in the ring. I don't need to. They've seen everything I can do with the Hart family. By the way, props to the whole Hart family and Bret Hart especially. I have a lot of people to thank that helped me in my career. I mean, there's a lot of people that have actually literally helped me. Of course, you know, when you build a house, you start at the foundation, and the Malenkos started my foundation. They opened the door for me, and then I think I progressed in my mindset, and also, you know, traveling with the likes of Jimmy Valiant and Rufus R. Jones and Steamboat, Youngblood, Bob Orton Jr., Flair. I mean, I've been with almost wrestled everybody in the wrestling business. I think everybody but the top guy. I've never wrestled Hulk Hogan. I've traveled with him, and he's been always respectful to me and treated me well. Anybody that hasn't treated me well or disrespected me, I won't bother mentioning their name because I'm not going to put them over.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of people. Bob Backlund, a lot of people that have helped me in my career. I took this from that, from this, for that. Another one, Greg Valentine, Dominic DiNucci. These are all people that there's much more than that. And they're just Mike Graham, especially the Graham family, Jerry Jarrett out in Memphis, Tennessee. And of course, one of my top 3 promoters, Otto Once, R.I.P., from Austria, that gave me huge respect. There's a person that didn't go by, who is Barry Horowitz? What's his name? Whose son is he? No, this guy could wrestle, because I beat Franz Schumann in his hometown for his championship. You could have heard a pin drop. People thought something was wrong, because I don't think he lost a belt in 5 years.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, Barry Horowitz comes in. See, these things could happen. But again, the powers to be or the people in the war room, they don't think that way.
No.
They think about getting themselves over. See, the secret is, Dan, get the match over. And what do I mean by that? Get Barry Horowitz over, get Owen Hart over, get Earl Hebner over, the referee, get the ring over, and get the fans involved. You do that and tell a good story, you've got a best-selling novel. That's a fact.
There you go.
It's just that guys today don't know that. Not all of them. They don't know how to tell a story. They don't have psychology. It's chopping meat. It's not pinning. It's not submitting. It's 20 super kicks to the face. You're not bleeding. You're not knocked out. Try that in a UFC match and see what happens. Yes, there's a difference between pro wrestling and UFC, but we could combine the two.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If you're a good worker, you can.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of work and a lot of mindset and work ethic.
Absolutely.
And I'm very passionate about that to this day. And that's what I convey. That's what I teach.
It's nice to see that passion is there still.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. On that note, again, thanks to Richie Sorrentino and to your son Josh for.
Oh yeah, yes. Thank
you for that, guys. On that note, guys, we're going to call it a night with Mr. Barry Horowitz. Barry, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Honestly,
I'm hoping in the near future I can make it to the big show in the UK, and if not, just to come to the UK to meet and greet or do a seminar or meet some of the great fans. Because I mean, I was there 20 years ago and they were supportive of me. I can imagine them now.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let me know when you're coming over and we'll sort you out.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time, Barry.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, and we'll chat to you soon. Thank you.